Stop the cap.
I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate over this, and I really don't give a fuck. But the point is, I've been doing construction work pretty much my entire adult life, over 20 years, 21, 22 years now. Right now on this job I'm on, right now, there are about 5 of us white guys out here. There's probably 2 or 3 black guys, and the rest are Latinos. And I say the rest being 100 to 125 guys. Now I've been on this job for 6 months. And that's been about the average. I wished all these guys would get their citizenship and do things legal, but the point is that they haven't. But if you send all these guys back across the border, everybody says, oh, they're going to raise the wages and all the white guys are going to get these jobs. Bullshit. Like, I don't know what fucking sandcastle you got your head shoved in, or whose ass you got your head shoved in, but no, they're not. I've watched the Americans completely quit working. People my age and younger don't work. They don't, and especially ain't gonna do a physical job. So all you people said, oh, they're gonna increase the wage, and all these thousands and thousands of white guys are gonna get these jobs. Like, have you done lost your fucking mind? I mean, come on. What's gonna happen is people like me are gonna be sitting at the house because there ain't even enough people to put a crew together to be able to fucking work. Fuck, man, this country and government, everybody just went to fucking shit, man. Damn, y'all keep working, baby.
Man, I just woke up. I woke up to a phone call, answered the phone call, and then, since I'm got the phone in my face, I'm holding it up. As people talk, I tend to, start swiping through messages and pulling up YouTube. So I opened up YouTube and I just came across a video. This is what came in my algorithms. The video is called White Men Think the World is Against Them. They're Right. And this has 48,000 views. It was posted 11 days ago. And this is Connor Tomlinson. And this is in the UK. And because, I can tell by the accents. And so it's kind of like I don't know what you would call it. I'm assuming a conservative, conservative podcast. It's kind of like trying to imitate like real news or whatever. And the subtitle is Woke Woes. White men say DEI policies leave them anxious at work. Right. And then he brought on some other white guy that's crying, whining, and bitching about this idea that not only can white men have to watch what they say in the workspace, which they should. Like like the whole idea that okay, so you're going to be in the workspace and you're just going to say some out of pocket anti-black or anti minority shit and not get called out on it. It's like that's not going to happen. And what I recognize is the same thing I've long stated is these are proletariat white men. And the proletariat white men, again, these are I'll say the descendants of Wat Tyler. Okay, the peasant revolt of Wat Tyler, 1381, because these guys are British, right? And the crazy thing is, right, the white oligarch elites have never wanted to pay the proletariat white men. Never. They didn't want to pay him in the feudal days, and they don't want to pay him today. White people have a long history of class warfare and the white oligarchs not wanting to pay them. And what colonialism did is colonialism basically, told white people, manifest destiny, go out there into the world of lands that are already occupied by other people, take what you will and enrich yourself. And for, the better part of, 300, 400 years, white people, at least the pioneering white people, they could do very well or had the hope of doing so, again, at the expense of other people. Okay. And the British Empire, for example, expanded. They used these white proletariat people to expand, their empire and destabilized other regions so that they could extract raw materials and resources out of those regions and vacuum them up back into Europe, which handsomely rewarded and benefited the white elites and the oligarchs. And they did their little trickle down economics to the white proletariat. They benefited as well, but now that the world is entering this multipolar phase where it's not just white domination and white hegemony, even by the white elites, and you have other nations coming together and forming Voltron to push back the proletariat white men. They're not feeling the privilege anymore. And so what they do is they go up and they start whining and crying and bitching, that it's the minorities, it's these DEI programs. First off, those people are in your country because you colonized those regions. The only reason why you have a Jamaican in your country, or the reason why you have a South African in your country, or the reason why you have a Pakistani in your country, or the reason why you have a Chinese, Cantonese speaking man in your country is because of colonization. It's the only reason they're in your country like that. And what white men are saying, when white men bitch about DEI, what they're essentially saying is the only people who should have gainful employment are white men. Anytime they see somebody else with a decent job, it's reverse racism. We're being discriminated against, right? They only want white men. They only feel that white men, no matter how mediocre a white man is, they feel that only white men should be gainfully employed, and that when they get hired, it's meritocracy. When anybody else gets hired, it's DEI. I mean, it's all this is just masked racism by using fancy language and terminology, and trying to cloak it from what it is, because white men are suffering not because of anything anti-white. They're suffering because the white elites, are they're not sharing. As soon as they get all these AI robots up, and as soon as they get all the they can phase out all working people. That's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be Elysium up in this bitch. It's going to be, the Blade Runner up in this bitch. That's what it's going to be. With synthetics walking around and whatnot. That's what it's going to be. They won't need you. And then the white elites will live in their ivory towers with their, Total Recall 2012 Colin Farrell robots, protecting them. That's what it's going to be. This is one of the reasons why I say that when you want to talk about the Second Amendment in America, why the Second Amendment needs to be progressive. The Second Amendment was established to as a check and balance. Just as the rest of the government, right? The executive branch, legislative branch, and the judicial branch, right? In America, it's a system of checks and balances. And so, the check and balance for the people is the Second Amendment. But if technology advances so much, but yet, this is the whole problem with the Supreme Court right now, and they don't want to take up these cases about, assault weapons, or machine guns. Because, if the white oligarchs are able to position themselves where they can use advanced technology to protect themselves, then you've totally lost that um, that check and balance, with the people. The Second Amendment, read the preamble of the Declaration of Independence. The Second Amendment was established there, as a protection, for the people against a tyrannical government. I don't even take a lot of British people seriously because I'm like, you still operate underneath the crown. I don't take any of the British Commonwealth seriously, because King Charles runs everything. He runs Canada. He runs Australia. He runs New Zealand. He is head of state. The UK white people, you still got the House of Lords. You don't even vote for them. So, you need to clean your own house before you run around, whining and bitching about how you're suffering. You can't even check your own system, because, again, while the American white people actually fought back and fought against the crown, you did not. And as somebody wrote in my comment section a long time ago, what the white elites did is y'all went out to lunch one day and the white elites changed the locks on the door. And when you tried to come back into the mansion, they wouldn't let you in the mansion. Or when you tried to come back through the back door, which is the only door entrance that you're even allowed to move about, they changed the locks on the door. And now you're outside in the rain, in the cold, with the minorities, bitching, crying, whining, and fussing. That's literally, what is going on here. It's literally what is going on here. Instead of you forming Voltron with the minorities against the white elites, in a fight against class warfare, again, because you want to feel that privilege, because you want to feel that you have some semblance of elevation over other people. You won't tear down the system. You won't fight the system. You won't challenge the system. You're mad because the white elites won't give you your honorary overseer badge. That's what you're mad about. That's what you're frustrated about. And instead of punching up, you decide to punch down. You decide, like the weak bitch that you are, you decide to cry and fuss about the most marginalized groups, that we can historically show and prove that they've been marginalized, especially in America. When I pull out, redlining, blockbusting, Jim Crow, eminent domain, urban renewal, convict leasing, debt peonage, COINTELPRO, CIA, Iran Contras, 1994 crime bill, assassination of black leaders, purging of black communities, denial of the Homestead Act, denial of FHA loans, denial of the GI Bill, denial of Social Security for the first 20 years, right? I can rattle off that list, you see. But instead of focus on those white elites, no, you aspire to be a white elite. And you come online and you cry like the weak bitch that you are, like you're the fucking victim. No, no, no. See, the problem is, what you're really crying about is the fact that today's white men in particular, right? Because you were all buddy and in bed with the white elites, right? You get their reputation based off of the destruction that they've done to the rest of the world. You get their reputation, but you're not getting any of the resources. You're not getting any of the tangible benefits. This is one of the reasons why, when it comes to African Americans, we're like, fuck all that lip service. Talk to us about some tangibles. We want some reparations for slavery and Jim Crow. We want tangibles. We don't want to hear about, oh, come vote for us. Come vote for the Democratic Party. Oh, come vote for us. No, 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 no. Unless you talk about some goddamn tangibles, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it. See, you all aren't just looking for tangibles. You're actually out here looking for prestige. And for many of you, prestige is more important than the actual tangibles. This is why Harvard did that study where you had the people that would rather make $50,000 and everybody else in the office make $25,000 than make $100,000 and everybody else in the office make $200,000. They didn't want to be little man on the totem pole, even though they were making six figures. They didn't want to be little man on the totem pole. So I grow weary of all these crying, whining, white men that are frustrated because the economy shifted. And now they got to go out there and the spots that they thought were guaranteed, right? The privilege that they once had. They're frustrated that now they actually have to go out there and compete with the minorities for the same position. And truth be told, the white oligarch, they don't want to pay anybody. They don't want to pay nor hire anybody, even highly skilled people. They get the highly skilled people to come in, make us an AI, and then as soon as the AI is able to basically, self-replicate or do its thing, or exceed the very people who created it, the white oligarchs say, "Okay, bye. See you later. I don't need you anymore. Thanks. Thanks. We will now take this AI and we will now, basically get the same level of production without paying you and without supporting families and all that other shit." No one is more self-hating than white elites. No one. No one. There's no preservation of the white race. There's no there's no there's no desire to keep the white race going, and not with this dynamic. Absolutely not. Not with this dynamic. And I mean, this has been the goal of the white elites since forever. You all haven't paid attention to the fact that you are ruled by vampires. You are ruled by vampires, and you're like what do they call them in the movie Blade? Familiars. That's what most white people are. They're familiars. They're the wannabe vampires. That's what you all are. As opposed to, running the stake through the heart of the vampire. You want to be a vampire. You want immortality. You see, and instead of teaming up with, all the people who, don't have the curse of the vampire, you protect the vampire, right? You fight for the vampire. And then you get mad when everything gets exposed and you get called out, for the hunchback, the hunchback that you are for the vampire. It's just insane the way that you guys come online and you whine and you bitch and you act like, you're the victims. Then when they don't want to pay you. They do not want to pay you. They do not care about your white culture. They don't care about your Oktoberfest. They don't care about your St. Patrick's Day. They don't care about what other things do white people do. They don't care about your bagpipes. Okay? They don't care. They've never cared. You are cannon fodder. You are, hogs for the slaughter. That's what you've been to them. And then they've convinced you of your the special privileges of your whiteness, as you grovel on your knees in mud as they ride past you on a white horse in their shining armor, as they go off and gallop to go quail hunting and shit. And you sit there, and instead of getting angry at them, you get angry at the minorities. That's what you get angry at. In other words, the guilt. I don't even know if you can call it guilt, because it's really not guilt. It's a weaponized divide and conquer. But but the the justification for the programs that are specific to minorities, who have been marginalized, right? If you want to say that as a white proletariat, well, you didn't discriminate against them. And I'm pretty sure, I only got to go a few degrees of separation where you did discriminate against them. You participated in the discrimination against them. Not that you came up with the policies, not that you were the ones that were directing or guiding it, but you participated in it. You participated in it, because you just thought that was just the order of things. Like when you go and you look at the income disparities between, let's say, white people and other minorities, right? The income disparities. See, what white people like to do is they like to slickly point to, like, let's say, Indians and Pakistanis and talk about, whatever their household income is, especially in the United States. But you got to recognize that they're not employees. Many of them have started their own businesses, which is why their incomes are so high, because they're not playing the game of, being dependent on white folks for their sustenance. What they tend to do is they come as immigrants, they start a small business, and then, they're able to get capital to navigate, do certain things, and then they send their kids to prestigious schools to get an education and use their degrees. Then they go and they do that. And then the kids may go off and they might become a doctor, which is more of a meritocracy than a lot of things, right? Because once you get into those upper echelons, it does tend to be a little bit more about you being smart and you proving yourself, than as opposed to the type of bullshit that you see in corporate America. But there still is a corporate aspect to it. The hospital is a business, you see. But they tend to get away from the type of areas and spaces that um that your average gray flannel suit, I want to work in corporate America, white man, functions in. And you can see that just if you just look at the numbers. If you look at the numbers in corporate America of race or gender, I mean, white men are the vast majority of corporate America. It's not even debatable. Even when it comes to women, I was looking at that shit the other day. Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Where's let me see if I can pull this up. Uh, let me see if I can pull this up. Let me see. I was just looking at this the other day. I don't even know if it's in here. But anyway, I looked at like the number of women in corporate America, and I mean it was a drop. It was a drop in the bucket. Okay, wait. Let me see if I can find it. Women corporate. No, I can't find it. I don't know what I did with it. Anyway, I mean I should just type it. Uh what percentage of women? No. Let me put it in here. Let me put it in here. What percentage of women are in corporate America? For corporate America relative to what percentage of women are in corporate America relative to men? Right? We already know black men ain't in corporate America like that. Actually, we're like, I think black women are like 54% of those in corporate America, and black men are just underneath that. They're 54%. I'm talking about the ratio between black men and black women. Women constitute approximately 46.8% of the U.S. workforce, yet their representation diminishes at higher corporate levels. Here's a breakdown of their presence relative to men in corporate America. Entry level positions, women hold about 47% of these roles. Managerial level positions, women occupy 40%, while men hold 60%. C-suite executives, women's representation has risen to 29%, up from 17% in 2015, right? So that means that men occupy 71%. And we know that the vast majority of that is white men. Fortune 500 CEOs as of 2024, 10.4% of Fortune 500 companies are led by women. 10%. So that means that men run 90% of Fortune 500 but oh my God, white men. Oh my God. Oh, pobrecito, pobrecito. Oh, no te rías, papi, no te rías. Right? Right? That's y'all. That's y'all. Y'all over there crying when you're 90% of CEOs, right? Who is keeping you out? It might be other white men. Promotion disparities for every 100 men promoted from entry level to manager, only 87 women are promoted. So for every 100 men that are promoted, 87 women are promoted. Now, this may be due to the fact that women don't want those responsibilities because women have to have babies and all that other stuff, and they want to have flex time and everything else. So there's other factors. But what I'm saying here is when you actually sit down and you look at the numbers, this supposed claim that white men are just so oppressed and there's no opportunities being extended to them is total bullshit. It's total bullshit. This gap is wider for women of color, so even less black women, with only 73 promotions per 100 men. Leadership pipeline, the underrepresentation of women in early management roles limits the pool of candidates for higher leadership positions. And I think the same thing applies, for black men, because I was looking at black men and I think like black men get promoted more than black women when it comes to leadership positions, even though black women are more present, in corporate America. I don't know what the factors are. Probably the same thing. Probably sexism. Probably, just the way that even women feel more comfortable with male leadership. Probably men are more aggressive with work negotiations. I don't know. I'd have to do more research. I'm just giving you the superficial, cursory information about it. Which flies in the face of all this woe is me as the white man. The numbers don't support the same thing with. I mean, they're crying about every fucking thing. There's the Islamization of the UK. Oh my God, right? So what they'll do is they'll make a post on social media. They'll go into the most Muslim neighborhood, okay, in the UK, and then start videotaping and start recording, and then they'll make a post online talking about, oh man, it looks like we're in India. I'm like, well, you're in a Indian neighborhood or you're in a Muslim neighborhood. Like, what the fuck? Then I go online and what percentage of the UK are Muslim, and it's only fucking 10%. So 90% of the country is not Muslim. But the Muslims are taking over. Oh my God. Like, oh my God, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I mean, that's like a white person going into a predominantly black community in America and being like, "Oh my God, look, it's Wakanda. There's so many black people. I thought I was in Africa." I'm like, well, I mean, you're in the South Side of Chicago. Like, the fuck do you what do you think? You know what I mean? Or you're in it's like going into Camden, New Jersey and standing on Federal Street and oh my God, the Mexicans are taking over. You're in a Mexican neighborhood, dumbass. like what do you expect? I mean, oh my God, this is what people mean when they talk about white fragility, yo. Y'all motherfuckers is so fragile. You know what I mean? You had a good run. You had a ridiculously good run for the last 400 years. And now the freaking white oligarchs have slammed the door in your face. And now it's everybody else's fault that now you're stuck outside with. Now it's everybody else. Man, if you don't sit your bitch ass down before we pounce on your ass, shut the fuck up. I mean, just shut the fuck up. With your oh, we're victims. Shut up. Anyway, that's my video. SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.
On the scene, Diamond Blaney, whole screen. Check a boy, Louis V. I'm so fresh and so clean. Stuff them bands in my jeans. Slap them 30s in them things. Pull the trigger, let it sing. Then go smoke a Russian cream.
Move. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hello?
Where you at?
Where we at? Oh, you want to know where I'm at? We outside!